3 Americans, 2 political parties, talking about one terminal diagnosis. This is Political Malpractice. And welcome back to Political Malpractice. Again, Sander is a no-show. I don't know. Maybe this whole ice storm knocked his internet out. Who knows what his excuse is going to be. But you all have me and wonderful Barrett here to entertain you for the next 45 to 60 minutes. So, no lie, I scoured the news looking for something not other than, but in addition to everything that's been going on with ICE this week.
Sure.
And there just is nothing. You know, Trump has tried to detract from it. He was, like I texted you the other day, he was at Davos, and in his speech, he had mentioned something about, you know, they used to call me daddy. Nobody calls me daddy anymore. So he's trying his damnedest to get his little Gestapo police force out of the news cycle. But even something
when you told me
as
that,
vile...
I lost my shit, Sasha. I did. And when you told me that, I mean, I didn't even know he had said that. And I was just like...
Yes. All through the campaign, I would go and troll MAGA posts and talk shit and tell them, oh, he's your daddy. You better go snuggle up. Your daddy pooped his pants. Go change that diaper. And they would get so pissed. We don't call him that. We never said that. He just said that people called him daddy in front of the world. Tell me you don't have some messed up fetish must-haves that need to remain hidden in the Epstein files because you're not letting those come out either.
All I know is that a lot of people out there really need to reassess their support for Trump and be big enough to admit the fact that he is not what you probably voted for, and he is probably not living up to your expectations, but you need to be big enough of a person to admit that. I am one of those people. I am big enough to admit that. He is not what I voted for. He is not living up to my expectations whatsoever.
I mean, the sad part about it is he's living up to the expectations that we had for him on the left.
Oh, sure.
Is not...
You guys were right.
He is not gently rising to the expectations we had for him. I think he's blown through the ceiling. You know, before the whole year was completed, he had blown through the ceiling of everything we said that was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the left was right about everything necessarily, but I will say that in general, yeah, you guys were right. You were on it. You saw something that we, who consider ourselves on the right, and God knows, I'm not even sure how much I consider that anymore. But, those of us on the right, we just didn't see it, I guess. I mean, all I can do is speak for myself. I guess I just gave him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. I remember Donald Trump from back then. He was a total piece of shit then. So, I mean, I expected him to be a total piece of shit as far as a person is concerned. But I was willing, I guess, to give him the benefit of the doubt of being a leader. I don't think that you necessarily have to be a nice person to be a leader. And, yeah, turned out to be wrong. And fuck me for that.
I don't think you have to be a nice person to be a leader. I mean, in just my professional life and your professional life, we're both adults with some extensive life experience in that regard. I can honestly say I've had leadership that has been quote unquote nice, and they have been ineffective leaders. I've had nice leaders be effective, but the most effective leaders were the no nonsense. The ones that when you're sick or your kid's sick and you can't go to work, they're not going to read you, the 10th degree. but they're also going to call those constant sick callers, they're going to call them on their bullshit, you know?
Right. Sure. Sure. And
But,
that's
and
totally fair.
he's definitely the prime example of the greater majority of leadership in the military that I've experienced. You know, in the
Sure. Oh
military,
yeah,
shit
you would be
floats.
able to speak. Yeah, you'd be able to speak to that better than me. That's
Hmm.
for sure.
In the military, shit floats. And he definitely fits in there with him being the biggest piece of shit. So let's get to it. I mean, let's
Let's talk about
this
the shit.
let's talk about the shit that's going on. So, you know, I started our agenda I think on Sunday, the day after we recorded last week's episode. I started it.
Hmm.
Um, you know, the wife got a new car and she was being taught how to drive stick because I think I made her nervous. Um, so while she's, you know, getting her lesson on how to drive this car, I'm filling up on root beer at the local PF Chang's. And so I just started digging through the news, looking for
Right.
stories, right? And it started off with, you know, what ICE is doing, which was more of the same, you know, knocking on random doors, randomly approaching, you know, American citizens in public, asking for proof of citizenship, not accepting proof of real ID, not accepting a real ID as citizenship. So I had to look that up, you know. Can somebody
Right.
that doesn't have legal status get a real ID? I don't know. And different states have different rules for the real ID. But at the end of the
Hmm.
day, all states, if you're not born here, if you don't have your birth certificate to get that real ID, all states require that you have proof of legal status. So your real ID is proof that you are here legally in the country or you were born here because you had your birth certificate. And they're not
Well,
accepting that.
that's supposedly the whole idea behind the damn thing.
But they're arresting American citizens, telling them that that's not proof. You know,
Yeah.
you've got Bovino saying that, you know, that immigration has the authority to demand that American citizens carry proof that they're American citizens. If that's not 1930s Germany, show me your papers. I don't know what is at this point.
Yeah. Mm. I don't know. I mean
I
that
mean,
one was like that one to me, it's like I guess in this day and age it is kind of acceptable to expect that people will have some sort of proof of identification on them. I mean, of course, like you said, that's not even good enough in some of these situations. But let's just say, just a simple, like traffic stop or something like that. I mean, as a responsible person, you probably should have some sort of ID on you. So, I mean, when they do say you need proof of citizenship, I mean, I think a driver's license is probably going to fit the bill for the most part. I'm not talking about the one-off situations. I'm just saying, yeah, carry your ID. That's probably a smart thing to
so
do.
and and here's the thing, because you were probably raised similar to how I was raised, right? As soon as I was 16 and able to work and had to go get the state issued identification because I didn't have my driver's license yet, my mom
Hmm.
did instill it in me. Carry that ID. You need your ID. Get used to it now so that you carry your driver's license later, right? Um, the problem is that people like Bovino and the ICE agents aren't saying, you know, you don't have a driver's license. How do I know who you are? They're saying, we demand that you have proof of citizenship.
Right.
That's not a requirement anywhere in this country. In
No,
fact,
no,
there
it's
are
not. No.
states where you don't have to have identification unless you're the one driving the vehicle and the vehicle gets stopped.
I actually believe Missouri is one of those states. To be quite honest, which is where I live. For those who don't know, um, yeah, I mean, I don't like I said. I mean, or I think I said this. I don't like the idea of the papers, please type of shit.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, at the same time, like I said, I was like, well, most responsible adults are going to carry some sort of identification with them.
Right. But
Um,
Chris,
so,
not pushing
I
back
guess it's a
against
balancing act here.
but not pushing back against them saying papers please. That is literally one step removed from handing you and I a pink triangle saying put this on your clothing now.
Oh, don't get me wrong, Sasha. I mean, all of this stuff is pretty fucked up, and I'm accepting more and more of that as we go on. I mean, I have a very good friend who lives here. He's from Sweden. He hasn't become a citizen yet. He plans on becoming a citizen, but anyway, yeah. I mean, this has had a kind of I know, chilling effect on his day-to-day life. I mean, he used to take part in like political debates and stuff like that on social media and everything, and he felt like he had to take all that stuff down. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and this is just a white dude. He's a white guy. He's from Sweden. But he's feeling like he needs to be very careful about how he conducts himself in this country right now, and I think that that's kind of unfortunate because I mean, when we're looking at someone like him who has and since I know him personally and know that he has every intention of becoming a citizen, it certainly doesn't feel very welcoming to make him feel like he's not able to exercise some of the rights that he should be able to enjoy here in the United States. So, I mean, I'm not liking that shit either. You know, I think that we need to, tone down some of this rhetoric coming from the administration when it comes to, oh, well, you can just demand this shit and everything. I mean, I was reading some of that stuff too, and I'm like, no, where's the law that even demands that? There is
There
none.
there isn't. There isn't a law
You
that gives
know,
them the authority to demand that. I'm glad you talked about rhetoric. Thank you for opening the door for me, because we're gonna go into it. We're gonna start talking about this the 37-year-old ICU nurse that ICE murdered, because that's exactly what it was. They murdered him. From Christy Nome, here's her statement. I'm going to read her statement first, and then I want us to look at the videos that look at the shooting from both angles, right? So
mm,
she stated, an individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently. This looks like a situation where the individual arrived at the scene to inflict maximum damage and kill law enforcement. This individual went and impeded their law enforcement operations, attacked those officers, had a weapon on him and multiple dozens of rounds of ammunition, wishing to inflict harm on these officers coming, brandishing like that, and impeding their work that they were doing. That's not what was happening, Christy. So let me pull up. This is the first video from, everyone online is calling it the lady in pink. So here is, I slowed the video down a little bit so that we can see.
mm.
This is the man over here that gets killed. There's not a major protest. These are some random people. Here's your ICE agent right here. Hopefully it records my mouse so people can see the little arrow. Here he is over here. He's recording. There's a phone in one hand, an empty hand, and his other hand's empty. He's waving these cars through, letting them know, hey, there's nobody in the road. Safe to go. I'm going to fast forward here a little bit because now the ICE agents are starting to come up to them. So here he is again. This lady was over here at the car. She's the one that approaches ICE. lower that so we don't have super loud back noise. So this is the man that they killed. That's the ICE agent shoving a lady who was walking away. He's trying to shield her. ICE is spraying him with pepper spray. He's trying to get her up. And here's the ICE agent pulling him off of her. Keep an eye on this ICE agent right here. So they're over here fussing with him. He reaches in. Here's his hand grabbing at something. He's on his belly. Here's the ICE agent's hand right here. This ICE agent just removed the gun and they killed him. So he was lawfully carrying. And they pulled the gun out of his waistband. He had not removed it. Shit. I think I lost you, Chris.
Oh, as far as I know, I'm still
There we
here.
go.
Okay.
Now I got you
Yeah, I
back.
was going to say, as far as I know,
All right.
I'm still here. Okay.
So he had a gun in his waistband. It wasn't out. It wasn't being shown. The way that they had him laying down, and you'll see it better in this other angle. He was on his belly, arms out, legs out. He had no chance to get the gun. The ICE agent comes in, and you'll see this angle, grabs the gun from his waistband, walks away from it, and that's when the guy starts to stand up, and ICE shoots him in the back. So let's get this other one going. So this is the guy that's going for the gun. His hands are still on the ground. He's nowhere near his hip trying to get his gun. This guy is, and there's the gun right there in his hand. He runs off, and they have shot him.
Yep. Well, you're probably more qualified to speak on the particulars of the way law enforcement actually behaved there. I mean, I mean, at least from my amateur position, it doesn't look like it warranted shooting him. But that's just my amateur sort of,
Well, your
viewpoint.
amateur opinion would be right. You know?
Well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like that. However, and this is something that we were kind of getting to beforehand. In the sped up video that plays at full speed, you can hear him blowing one of the little whistles.
Uh-huh.
And so, it's not a secret what that means anymore. And
It means ICE is here.
right. And so he chose to insert himself into a situation that he didn't belong in. Didn't need to be there. And
Okay,
so
hold on,
I mean,
pause.
but
Hold on,
sure,
pause,
sure.
because I need clarity of what you think the situation was. What do you think the situation was?
Well, I mean, because he had one of the whistles and he was blowing that like crazy, I think that he was there to interfere somehow, and to what degree, I don't know. I mean, obviously, we'll never know. But what I'm saying here is I'm not excusing what the officers are doing. I'm just, because, like I said, you're better qualified to talk about that than I. But what I am saying is that I'm seeing a lot of people putting themselves in very high risk situations where they don't need to be. They're not going to affect any sort of change that way, and so I see this as a possible outcome. Like it's not good that this happened, but it's not surprising that it happened. Does that make any sort of sense? It's like you put yourself into a dangerous situation. No one was forcing you to do that. You weren't going to make a difference anyway. And so you've put your life at risk. You've put possibly other people's lives at risk for behaving in a reckless manner like that, inserting yourself into an ICE operation. I mean, seriously, I'm not going to ever do that. I know that there's better ways to get my point across,
Okay, hold on.
and
Hold on,
so
because you've laid out
that's
a
where
lot
I'm
of points.
thinking.
You've laid out a lot
Yeah.
of points. So, one, any law enforcement officer who shoots someone in the back, there's no justification for shooting anyone in the back, period. I don't care if Alex had an M16 that was slung around his chest. You shot him in the back. There is no jury on earth that would find shooting someone in the back to be righteous self-defense or defense of others, right? So
Right.
we can both agree on that one. You don't shoot
Sure.
people in the back, okay?
Sure.
I take issue with the argument that you put yourself in a dangerous situation. And we had this back and forth a week or two ago because that's the
Mhm.
same as telling a woman you shouldn't have worn that skirt. You
Well,
shouldn't have
you
worn
see
that
it that
skirt
way. I
and
don't
he
see it
wouldn't
that
have raped you.
way.
But it's the equivalent because all Alex was doing
I don't
was
know that I
exercising
agree
his
with that.
constitutional right.
He
That's
was.
all he
He
was doing.
was.
Just like you and I are now. You and I are
Yeah.
exercising our constitutional right to free speech. To say Alex shouldn't have been there, he shouldn't have put himself in that dangerous situation. That then excuses ICE for breaking down my door and your door and shooting us and killing us for exercising our free speech and doing this podcast because we are inciting violence in our speech.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that would
no,
be the
I mean,
excuse that they would use.
I see your point of view. I mean, I really do. It's just that I'm saying that while we both agree on the responsibility of the police to do the right thing, I think that there's a responsibility for citizens to do the right thing, and as well. I mean, I
If
think the onus is on both of us.
I don't think the onus is on us when we are unarmed. If he had pushed ICE, punched ICE, somehow engaged in a physical altercation, I wouldn't agree with you, but I would say that maybe your argument had a little weight, you know? But he was across the street from them. When the ladies were retreating from the ICE SUV, he was helping to get them on the sidewalk because there was, some, no pun intended, there was ice right there on the curb. That's what the lady slipped and fell on because she was trying to get
Right.
back onto the sidewalk, right? So he's
Sure.
trying to help those ladies get on the sidewalk. ICE came up to him. ICE
Mhm.
started the fight with him and they pepper sprayed him. They pulled him away from her and he was trying to help her get up on the
Yeah.
sidewalk
But what was his reason for being there? What was he trying to accomplish?
to warn people that ICE was there. And he is well within his constitutional right. He was
He
not in
certainly
their
is,
way.
but I
He
mean,
was not in their way.
I'm well within my constitutional rights to do all sorts of horrible shit. I'm also well within my constitutional rights to do all sorts of good stuff. But I'm also well within my constitutional rights to do stupid shit. And I'm just saying, I mean, God
But
bless the man because his heart was probably in the right place. But I'm sorry, you just can't convince me that this isn't a stupid thing to do.
I don't think it is. I mean, to say that what he's doing is stupid is to tell Martin Luther King Jr. that what he did was stupid. To tell all of the people during the Montgomery bus boycott that what they did was stupid. To say that the Selma to Montgomery marches were stupid. People got hurt there too. Merely
Trust me,
talking to your state representative doesn't do shit. If people do not show their representatives that they are angry and upset, that representative isn't going to do anything. Look at Hakeem
yeah,
Jeffries. He ain't doing shit but writing sternly worded letters.
you know what? Okay, so this kind of gets down to the thing that we were talking about beforehand. Because here's the thing. I'm going to give a little bit of advice from this little guy here on the right to my friends on the left. If you want to affect actual change, this shit isn't going to do it. Now, I did say, even in my text message to you, that there are exceptions to the rule. And guess what? One of the exceptions that I very much thought of was the civil rights protests and marches that happened in the 1960s. I agree with you. Those were effective, but those were also way better organized than what we're seeing going on now. We're not, it was truly a unified voice.
Okay,
So I
and
think
I
but
will give you that. I will absolutely give you that. But how do you expect anybody on the left to unify when you have Bondi, Nome, Stephen Miller, J.D. Vance, and the president, right? Starting some weird hunt for the head of Antifa, right? When Antifa isn't a thing. Well, shit. Now we can't really organize as a mass group under one name because they've already deemed it a domestic terrorist organization. So now we are
sure.
left to splinter groups.
Well, I mean, both sides throw that shit around very loosely. I mean, I've said it before. I mean, the American Civil Liberties Union, the Southern Poverty Law Center all see me as a right wing extremist. They throw both sides just throw this shit around. And, it means nothing. But what I'm trying to say to my friends on the left is, guys, you have a good point here with this shit going on with ICE. You have a good point. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with that. What I'm disagreeing with is the tactics. And I'm doing that just purely from a strategic point of view. What I am saying is, in my own personal experience, after organizing big protests and all that type of stuff and seeing absolutely fucking nothing come out of it, I will give protest one simple shout out. There was one protest that I was a part of, and it was at the Missouri State Capitol, and it was standing outside of a senator's door. That was effective. We got the senator to come out. He decided to actually sit there and talk to the crowd and everything. We had a back and forth, and guess what? We changed his vote. So, but the thing is I'm just saying, it's like, I think a lot of this stuff is looked upon as a joke by a large portion of the population. Part of it is because, like what we saw with George Floyd, again, didn't necessarily disagree with the reasoning behind it. But it's like, well, when you're going and burning down cities and shops and shit like that, that's probably not a great PR move, you know? And so I'm just thinking, it's like, you guys have a point here. So if you want to make a good point, you need to connect with your elected representatives. Go have those protests in the state capitals. Those fucking ICE agents are just following their orders. You know what I
And so
mean?
were the
And
soldiers
you're
in
not going to
Nazi
get
Germany. So were the
Yeah,
soldiers in
but
Nazi
that's the thing.
Germany.
You're not going to get through to those ICE agents. It's not
They
going to
don't
make
want to
any
get through to the
difference.
ICE agents, Chris. There are over 3,000 ICE agents in Minneapolis. Do you know how many cops are on Minneapolis Police Department?
Probably far less.
600.
Right.
So this isn't
Well,
normal ICE behavior as it has been in the last 24, 25 years, because this is a very baby agency, right? This
but
isn't
remember,
normal ICE strategy. This is the Gestapo.
but
These are
remember,
henchmen.
we're
These
not
are
really
henchmen.
disagree.
They're henchmen.
But,
They're led
but
by a dog
remember,
killer and a racist.
no. But remember, we're not really disagreeing on that. I'm the only disagreement that at least that I'm seeing here is just on tactic. And I'm just trying to share a tactic that I know that has worked for me, which is ditch the protests, get in touch with your elected representatives, go sit down and talk to them, protest outside of their offices if they won't listen to you, get their attention, make their day hell.
But
Because those
so
are the people that are actually going to be able to do something. That's the
but
point that I'm trying to
when
make. It's
you
like
did
going
that,
and
Chris,
protesting and well, I'm just saying going and protesting in front of an ICE agent isn't going to do anything.
when you did that, Chris, was this particular representative pulling out Purple Heart Army vets from their cars, beating them and detaining them? Were they
Well, but that's my
deporting U.S. children without parents? Were they
again, I
deporting
don't agree
U.S.
with any of
children?
that stuff. Again, I don't
But
agree with any of that shit.
that's why it's happening the way it is now. It's an entirely different situation. Now they feel the need to be there in the streets because that's where their neighbors are getting kidnapped from. That's where children are being kidnapped.
Go ahead and keep
That's why
doing
they're
it.
in the street.
Go ahead and keep doing it. I mean, I used to be a part of the left too. The left loves to be the dead horse like you wouldn't believe. So I mean, go ahead and keep doing that. It's going to fail. Nothing's going to happen. But if you guys turn around and you get in touch with your elected representatives, you might actually stand a chance of making a difference. That's all I'm saying. Take it or
I
leave
think
it.
it is working. I think it is working. They've
Huh?
blocked yet another budget bill until ICE's funding is removed. ICE is only funded until the end of this month. They've got 5 days of funding left.
There are Republicans that are even joining in on that. But
And I
see,
think
that's
the
the thing.
protests are working.
I seriously doubt
It
that the
wasn't
protests have anything
it
to do with
wasn't the
that. I
Selma
bet it's
marches. It wasn't the Selma marches that got bills signed and bills passed. It was the Selma marches that got the attention of the
Mhm.
politicians to sign and pass those bills. And that's what we're having to do. We have to get
Well,
attention because they're not caring.
you
Now,
do. There's ways of doing that though without putting your people at risk. I mean,
or
there
you
just
could
is.
just not have untrained people who have had minimal background checks, have only had 47 days of training. Their training was cut from 6 weeks to 47 days. That's not training.
Well, I don't disagree.
But then
I
why
mean,
put
like
them
I
in the
said, it's
street?
a matter,
They shouldn't be
but
in the street.
it's a matter of tactics. Okay, well, all right. Let's put it this way: if I were in charge of everything, I would say call off the protests, put all of your energy into the legislatures across the country, put all of your energy into the U.S. Congress. Take care of it that way. You're going to actually get something done. Okay, fine. You want to ignore that. All right. Then step two. All right. So if you're going to be protesting, then do it in an organized fashion so that it is very clear to the police that you are not a threat. I did this myself. My very largest protest that I ever did in St. Louis, which drew in thousands of people, uh, I made sure that I had very good contacts on the St. Louis Police Department. I asked them to, I invited them to show up and watch our
The
protests.
Minneapolis Police Department aren't the problem, Chris.
No,
They're
I
not the
know, but
problem. They're not the
I'm
ones
just
shooting the
saying.
protesters.
But I'm just saying, it's like if you're going to do it, that is one way of doing it and
So
keeping your people safe.
if
I
they're
mean, are we
going to
trying to keep
protest,
people safe, or are we just saying, free for all,
so if they're
people
going
can
to
just
protest
die?
ICE, they need to call Bovino and
Oh
say,
no, not
"Hi,
ICE, not
Nazi, just so
ICE.
you know, our whistles aren't deadly weapons."
No, no,
They've
no,
got
no.
whistles.
I'm saying you would, in a situation like that, if you were smart, you would want at least the local police there, because and to form a relationship
There's
with them.
only
Before I did my
600
before I did
cops.
my before I did my protest in St. Louis, I made sure to establish at least a 2 month long relationship with this detective in the St. Louis Police Department. I had a good relationship with the cops in order to do this protest. And the cool thing
But
about them was is they were like,
you're
we're not
missing the
taking any
numbers,
side.
Chris. You're
Yeah, I
missing the
know,
numbers.
but
Minneapolis
no,
has
but
600 police officers. The
yeah, but
citizens
those
in
are
Minneapolis have a
really good.
constitutional right to sit
But
there and blow a
those are
whistle. Why
really
are the
good witnesses to have on your side.
why
If you have actual police
witnesses? We've
officers
got
on your
five
side,
different views. We have 5 different views
no,
of this man being
I'm
murdered. We
just,
have
I'm
over
just,
10
it,
views of Renee Good being murdered.
well,
We
I'm,
have the best
again,
witnesses you can. It's recorded.
again, I'm just saying you can take it or leave it in the end. I'm telling
It
you how I
You're
would do
comparing
this.
apples to oranges. You are absolutely comparing apples to oranges.
Like I said, Sasha, love you to pieces, but you are definitely on the left because you do love to beat that dead horse. It's been tried 100 million times
I will
beforehand. You're
beat.
just
It is
repeating it.
never a dead horse. It is never a dead horse when federal agents murder a U.S. citizen. That's
But
not
that's not
beating a
what
dead
we're really
horse.
talking about, at least. Not me,
Absolutely,
at
that's what
least.
I'm talking about.
No, but
If
that's not
they
what I'm
want to
talking about.
deport
I'm
people
talking
that
about
don't
tact.
belong in this country, if they want to deport people that don't belong in this country, they can do it in a correct manner. Busting into people's doors without having a warrant, wrong. Ripping people out of cars without a warrant, wrong. The
Did I ever
president,
disagree with you on any of that?
that's not a dead horse.
No, but that's
These
not
are
what I'm
very
talking about.
real, living
I,
situations.
I'm just saying, Sasha. I think that we're kind of going, because you're talking about the obvious bad things that are going on that should not be going on, and I 100% agree with you. I'm talking tactics in order to counter this bullshit, and no one on the left will fucking
You
listen to
think
me.
people
Everybody
aren't
wants to
talking to their
go.
state reps?
I'm sure that the smart ones are. you
You
know,
think people
they're
aren't
not.
talking to their state reps?
I'm sure the smart ones are, but who are these idiots out in the street interfering with an ICE operation? What kind of
There was no
dumbass would do
interference
something
in
like
that
that?
video.
It
There was
doesn't
no
matter. He
interference in
shouldn't
that
have been
video.
there. What the fuck was he
He
doing
has
there? That's
every
my
right to be there.
question.
You are one step shy of saying, yes, thank you for my pink triangle. Do you know a local seamstress that can put it on for me? You are one step removed from that.
I don't think it's that extreme. I'm just talking
Saying
tactics.
that
I'm not
someone
talking about whether
saying
this is okay or not.
saying that someone should not exercise their constitutional right
Well,
is
but
one
remember,
step
Sasha,
removed.
Sasha, I said there's smart ways, there's dumb ways, all sorts of ways to exercise your constitutional rights.
I
I'm saying,
absolutely think
why
that the
are these?
protesters, I I'm about to agree with you. Hold on. I think that protesters who are throwing rocks and, whatever, you know, throwing things at ICE, that we're throwing things at cops, that's wrong. That's saying, please come fight me because now I just
Yeah,
gave you a reason to. But when
Sure,
there are
that's even
situations like
dumber.
this
Yeah.
where all he's doing is letting the cars know, hey, the road's clear. Come on. We're not in the road. Let's go. Let's go. There's nobody here. Let's go. And trying to help a woman stand up after she was shoved by an ICE agent. That's not stupid. That's being a good
Well,
person.
I think it's been, hmm, I don't know. I guess we're just going to have to agree to disagree on that one because, again, like I said, I'm talking tactics. It's just a tactic that I think is done. The guy had no reason to be there. It doesn't matter what the fuck he was trying to do as far as, helping people along. Who the hell appointed him to be, a traffic officer? I didn't ask for that. No one else asked for that. He decided to take that upon himself. You
Because
know,
18 days ago, ICE felt trapped and murdered a woman. So now
I
he's
know.
trying to say the road is open. Go. You don't have to shoot anybody who's in their car. You don't have to kill anybody. They approached him. They started the fight.
I think that these are good people who are losing their lives unnecessarily. And they're
Yeah,
putting
they
themselves
are
in the
because the
situation. But
Gestapo is allowed
but
to
our
kill them.
difference of it but our difference of opinion is that I also hate I can't talk, the Gestapo trying to kill them. I hate that too. But I also think that there's some responsibility on themselves to just not insert themselves into situations where they don't belong.
All right. So now that Riverside has been rude to us yet again, please finish your thought that you were saying, if you can remember what it was.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's kind of funny. Here's the thing, guys, for everyone listening. Um, I think that ultimately what I want to make sure that you all understand is that I'm not disagreeing with all the stuff that Sasha is saying. I actually agree with her on pretty much absolutely every bit of it. I am talking tactics. That's what I am talking here, and I'm just saying there's a smart way to go about this stuff, and there's kind of a dumb way to go about this stuff. And I generally think that a lot of the people that are getting themselves caught up in this stuff, getting themselves killed and stuff like that, are kind of going about it the dumb way. Um, but but I only say that out of like concern and caring because these are probably good people who mean well. And I don't want to see them dying unnecessarily and putting themselves into, dangerous situations where, whether they make much of a difference or not is definitely debatable. So that's kind of the thing that I'm saying there. It's like, so, I mean, if anyone wants some ideas on how to conduct protests, if you absolutely insist on doing a protest, I am pretty good at this stuff. Contact me at Midwest Homo 77 on X. I'll be more than happy to walk you through how to safely conduct a protest so you're probably not going to get yourself killed.
And y'all heard it from him. His email is Midwest Homo. I fucking love it.
I mean, that's just it, Sasha. I don't want to see people getting killed,
I don't
And I'm just trying to think
I
of
don't
how
want
to
to
do this
see
the best way.
I don't want to see people getting killed either. And if this is what the administration is going to do, don't kill people that are exercising their constitutional right. Now, I do want to end this on a funny note because you said that you have not seen this.
Oh,
Are you
God.
ready? Are you
I'm
ready?
ready.
Hopefully it picks up the sound.
Here. They loved me. They called me last time. A very smart dad said he's their daddy. What? I hate this motherfucker so much now.
How? You're the leader of a country. Can you leave, like, your kinks at home with Melania? Not that she wants them, but Hey, she's hanging in there for her billions. So Jesus, lady, keep the kinks at home. Fuck.
Oh my God.
I
Uh,
I about crashed my car when I heard that. I was driving and I was listening to all of this live. I about crashed the car.
no wonder it didn't make it to right wing social media because even they were so embarrassed by it.
Exactly. I mean,
but
granted,
those motherfuckers will not admit that they're
you
embarrassed by it.
you have your talking fox heads who have called him daddy on Fox. They have happily called him daddy. Are you fucking insane?
I can show you a picture of a man that I like to call daddy, and he's sitting over here in the room next to me. And I'll tell you what, it sure as fuck isn't that gross ass octogenarian.
No. Nope, no, 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 no. All right, folks. It has been real hanging out with you on Political Malpractice. We will see you again next week. Thank you for
All
listening.
right. Thanks, guys.
If you want a second opinion or just something to rage about, hit that button and subscribe. This has been Political Malpractice.